Welcome to Brews&Boxing, episode 3. 3, Richie. Can you believe it? We're already 3 episodes in.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a lot of fun every week. Tune us in. We film this every Wednesday, posted every Thursday. Make sure you check it out. Share with all your friends. We're very close to our goal of 100 subscribers on the Raider Live channel where we get our own custom URL. So please share it with your friends. Tell them to subscribe. We're getting really close. Richie, I know you started a Twitter page for this too. That's at Brews&Boxing, twitter.com/Brews&Boxing, correct?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Well, how you been there, Filthy Rich?
Good. We follow Canelo. He's not doing anything. We also added Chris Jericho on our follow list. They're not following us back, and that's okay. But yeah, we're getting it started here.
Not yet. They haven't followed us yet.
If they know what's best for them, they'll jump on.
Well, I was a Jerichoholic, so maybe he can, become a brewaholic. Brew-boxing-aholic. There you go. All right, you ready to start it off with Brews and News, Richie?
Bring it on. Ring that
Let's
bell.
start it off with Brews and News. And of course, with Brews and News, what we got to do, got to crack a brew before we get to the news. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, bro.
All right.
What we're
going to talk about in our first thing of Brews and News this week, Errol Spence is healthy after that car accident, that nasty, nasty car accident that we all saw. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing he survived the thing, to tell you the truth. He is a Superman because of, he can't be beat. He gets a car wreck like that and walks away. It's unbelievable. But now he says he's healthy and he's ready to start fighting again. He's targeting Pacquiao or Crawford. He's challenging them both. What do you think's a better fight there, Filthy Rich?
I think the boxing fan wants to see the Crawford fight, but the boxing fan does not know what they really want. The truth is, we want to see Pacquiao. We want to see Pacquiao and Spence. We need to see the PBC clean up that side of the street as Terence Crawford or whoever else calls it, cleaning up their side of the street. And right now, Terence Crawford has cleaned up the top-ranked division of the welterweights, and Errol Spence claims he's going to be taking care of his business. It's an easier fight to make with Pacquiao. I think we want to see the Crawford, but we really want to see Errol Spence clean up the rest of that side of the PBC. I
agree with you. The fact that we can always have a Crawford fight a year down the road, and it's not going to be a big deal to have that a year later. Pacquiao's now a spring chicken. What is he, 175 years old now? I mean, if we're going to see that fight, it's got to be soon. I mean, he keeps denying the Mother Nature. He doesn't age. But at some point, every fighter's going to be done, and he's a lot closer to the end of his career than to the beginning. So, I mean, if we want to see that fight, I think you're right. The boxing public may want to see Spence Crawford, but I think Spence Pacquiao would be the way to go. It'd be a big money fight for sure. That'd be a great fight to watch. It would sell out if they were fighting in front of people. But I agree. Pac-Man is the right fight for now. I'm not saying that the Crawford fight wouldn't be a better fight, but that's the fight that we need now.
That's the fight the fans are going to marinate on. It's like you said, like Bernard Hopkins was once in the 12th round with Father Time before Father Time got him down. Pacquiao was in the same bout with Father Time, and it's only a matter of time before Pacquiao's career's at the end. And I think the Pacquiao Errol Spence fight can be made. It can be made tomorrow. Obviously, we know what's going on in the world now, but that fight can be made. It can be made quickly. It's an interest for everyone. When that fight's over, I can see someone like a Danny Garcia or Yordenis Ugas stepping up to Errol Spence. But for the time being, let's wait on this Crawford thing because we know it's not going to happen. Let's not get too excited about it.
Well, they're never going to be able to come to a deal with no fans in front of them. So, I mean, they're never going to be able to do it. I mean, Spence could go fight Pacquiao on Dana White's private island, and he'd have record pay-per-view numbers. But, they want the gate, and the gate would be the Crawford fight, and they're going to wait on that until we can fight in front of people again.
I completely agree.
All right. Well, I think we touched on that. You have any other news you want to hit on, Rich?
I have nothing but a bunch of mistakes from last week, and I do not want to get into it. I've heard your voices. Leave me alone.
You don't want to correct any? You don't have any omissions from last week?
if you know the mistakes, you know the mistakes. Good for you. I'll give you some candy or something. I don't know what to tell you, but
Hey, there's never a mistake. It's an opinion show.
you know,
It's your opinion. Well, if that's it for Brews and News, let's just move right on to the Filthy Five. All right, you ready for the Filthy Five?
Bring it on.
All right, Filthy Five. I've been looking forward to this one since we started the show. My favorite division, welterweights. So many great welterweights. This was a hard list for me. As I know, I talked to you earlier in the week, and I told you I've rewrote my list 4 or 5 different times now, and I still don't know. Even before show, when we're sitting there, I'm going, man, I don't know if I got it right again. But I'm going to keep with what I wrote, and we're going to go with it. You want to go with your number 5?
Yeah, let's hit like this. This could possibly be the deepest division in boxing right now. I know we've hit the middleweight division, the heavyweight division, both which are really deep. I mean, you can go all the way down to 8, 9, 10, and make a case for each and every one of those guys to be in the top 5. And I think this division is that solid. So at my number 5, which really there's like 3 or 4 guys who are honorable mentions on this list, and we'll maybe touch on them, maybe not, whatever. Number 5, I've got Shawn Porter. We know his style of fight has, I don't want to say evolved, but for lack of a better term, it has evolved from that running of the bull, leading with the head and just charging the opponent.
Rocky Balboa style, we call it.
Right, a fight rather than a boxing match. I mean, the guy would lean in with his head, and I think he was ducked for so long because nobody wanted that smoke. But let me tell you, Shawn Porter has become very disciplined. I don't know if that really works to his advantage. I don't know if a year ago I would have had him in the top 5. But right now, he is showing that he is just not some clumsy, careless boxer out there. He is showing that he has the speed and the discipline and the footwork to beat anyone in the top 5. I think some people can make a case that he's number 1. I don't make that case, but some people can make the case he's number 1, and I would not fight over it.
It's hard to make him number 1 when he's coming off a loss. But I'll just tell you, my number 5 is Shawn Porter as well. I agree with you. Dead on right there. He looked really impressive against Errol Spence Jr. Really impressive. I mean, that fight, it was unbelievable how hard he fought that fight. And I think there's a argument that if they fought again, he could win that fight.
I was just going to mention that fight was so close. It's hard to even say that it was a decisive Errol Spence win. I could see some people saying I thought Porter won, and I could see that. I had Spence winning, but I could see how some people would say Porter won that fight.
I had Spence winning too, but Porter, he won the heart in that fight. He fought with all his heart in that fight, and he was very impressive to me. And impressive enough to make both our top 5s at number 5.
Yes.
I'm going to jump in for my number 4. And this way may surprise a few friends of ours. But I got Keith Thurman at number 4.
Interesting.
I like Keith Thurman. I know he's a little out there in age, and he did lose to Pacquiao recently, but that was a good. Pacquiao is God. I mean, but he's got a win over Shawn Porter too. People forget that. He had a great win over Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
I like Keith Thurman. He's up there in age a little bit. People are talking about retiring. He said he's going to put Pacquiao into retirement. That no one's been able to do that, and no one probably will be able to do that. But that's where I got my number 4, Keith Thurman. How about you, Rich?
Yeah, I hear you on Keith Thurman. There's a lot. He's just a solid, polished fighter. I get it. He has beaten those names, although they were close fights with Danny Garcia. I mean, I thought Danny Garcia won that fight. Obviously, they gave it to Keith Thurman. We all saw the Pacquiao fight, and we saw Pacquiao look like he was 20-something years old again. Yeah. But yeah, I hear where you're coming from with on Thurman. And on my number 4, I mentioned him very briefly. I got Manny Pacquiao at number 4.
Pac-Man at 4.
Again, we talk about Father Time catching up with someone. On this day, today, as we are recording, I think Pacquiao has maybe 2 great fights left in him. After that, I don't see him being a threat to this division anymore. He still hasn't fought the likes of the Danny Garcias and the Errol Spences or the Terence Crawford, which he should have been able to fight Terence Crawford a couple years ago. I think that Joe Horn matchup in Australia derailed what could have happened, because shortly after that, he ended up signing with Al Heyman, and now that fight broke down with Top Rank. But yeah, I have Manny Pacquiao at number 4.
Interesting. All right, so my 5 and 4 is Porter and Thurman. Your 5 and 4 is Porter and Pacquiao. Who's your number 3, Filthy Rich?
So my number 3 is someone who has been known as the number 1 pound for pound guy on many lists. I have Terence Crawford at number 3. He's one of those guys who has power in both hands. He fights on both sides. I think sometimes he challenges himself by going 12 rounds and just using both hands. I remember when Ronda Rousey fought the lady in Australia. It felt like she went into a boxing match because she wanted to challenge herself. She wanted to win. She could have just done the Ronda Rousey thing and win. I think that's what Terence Crawford does. I think when he knows he can beat you, what's the point of doing this? Let me make it a challenge for myself. I will beat you with both my hands, and I will beat you in 12 rounds. I remember when Floyd Mayweather was done knocking people out and asked why he was not knocking people out. He said, people aren't trying to pay all this money to see 3 or 4 rounds of boxing. They paid the money. They want to see 48 minutes. I'm going to give them 48 minutes. I think that's what Terence Crawford is doing. Terence Crawford is my number 3.
Well, as my number 3, I also have Terence Crawford, who may shock some people, may not. Yeah, the knock on him is that he really hasn't fought anybody, and I know you can use that about what I said last week about Andrade, but yeah, he fought Amir Khan. Great. He beat Jeff Horn. Great. I mean, yeah, he was the champ, but still, Jeff Horn. I mean, we all know that Jeff Horn lost to Pacquiao. I mean, we all know that. I mean, anybody with a pulse watching that fight knew Pacquiao got screwed in that fight. I just want to see him fight somebody and prove it to me right now. I know he's ESPN's main boy that they're kind of pushing right now, that that's their headliner. That's the one that they want. So I think maybe they're protecting him a little bit because, they're like, if he goes down in a big fight against Spence or Pacquiao even, what do we got?
Well, even thinking about the Anthony Joshua situation when he lost to Ruiz, you get that one loss and now the dollars aren't there. So, yeah, right. Protecting Crawford is in the best interest of ESPN and Top Rank and Bob Arum and whoever else. Now it's going to come down to these other guys on the PBC or even Matchroom if they have any big names over there. But if these guys catch a loss on their record, it's still going to affect Terence Crawford. So some of these fights need to happen, and honestly, I think they're going to happen sooner than we think. But
let's hope so. That means we're getting back to boxing if they happen sooner than we think. But as I said, I can wait on the Spence Crawford fight for a year. I'm fine with that. If Pacquiao doesn't fight Spence, I'd be happy to see Pacquiao Crawford. That'd be a great fight for me. But again, I think ESPN's going to protect him because if he loses, who are they going to push? I mean, they really ain't got anybody in that division that they're really pushing hard, Yeah. And, as I said, we watched an Amir Khan fight. I'm like, it was just boring.
Low blows and whatnot.
As the trainer says, sometimes you get hit in the testicles.
Well, they come off as indecisive. I think it could have been called a no contest. I think it went to the 5th round, but it could have been called a no contest. Bring it on. Bring a rematch. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch with Amir Khan. Let's not. I mean, I know he's kind of washed up and he just fights for the dollar. I don't think he'll take any small dollar fight, but do a rematch with that. I mean, no one cares.
Amir Khan can't lose this. This is the moneymaker,
There it is.
You know how it is. Amir Khan is he is the Rick Martel of the boxing circuit. He is the model. So throw a little wrestling. I know we weren't going to talk wrestling again, but I had to throw the model Rick Martel in
You
there
can
because
talk wrestling whenever you want.
that's what Amir Khan reminds me of in boxing. Sometimes.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my number 2 then, since we both agreed on Crawford and we touched on him briefly. So I'm going to briefly touch on my number 2. I got Manny Pacquiao at number 2, with wins over Thurman. In my eyes, he won 6 fights in a row. I mean, yeah, I know he lost to Horn, but in my eyes, he won that fight. So he's got a 6-fight winning streak going on. Father Time appears to have, or the Predator, what do they say? Time is a predator that will stalks you your entire life. Well, his Predator has no teeth apparently because he keeps going. He's 41 years old, is listed 41 years old. I don't know if he's 41 years old. He might be older.
Right.
Who knows? I mean, remember when he was fighting Mayweather? How long ago was that? And that was considered, oh, well, you had Mayweather wait until he's past his prime. What was that? 100 years ago, it feels like now that we watched that fight.
Yeah.
He's got the Adonis blood in him. He's got tiger blood. He's amazing. And until he slows down or shows me slowing down, he hasn't shown me slowing down. He's won 6 fights in a row and against decent fighters too. I mean, he's never one to back down from anybody. He'll take the fight. He'll fight anywhere. And I think now he can fight in America again now too. Didn't he get his tax thing cleared up? I don't remember.
Not 100% on the details on that. I mean, it's been so long, but it's boxing. If you can find some money to bribe someone for a license, Pacquiao has the money to do it. I mean, he's a sit-in senator still in the Philippines, so he can make it happen if he wants to. I think he's allowed to fight here. And going back quickly to that Joe Horn fight, I mean, it was on Joe Horn's territory. It was in Australia. I mean, we felt like like Andre Ward and Kovalev. It was a bunch of, at least in that fight, it was a bunch of American judges with an American soil with an American referee, and the Russian loses. That's what happened with Pacquiao and Jeff Horn. It was a bunch of Australians who kind of let's screwed him over. Let's be
and
real.
Actually, give credit to Pacquiao. He didn't react like negatively in the ring. He still was a sportsman. He still walked up, shook his hand, and said good fight. And he said all the right things. And he didn't go nutso. Like, he had every right in the world to go nutso about it and demand everything, but he just took it on the chin and said, well, let's move on to the next one.
It's not show business, but it is a business, and it is an entertainment. Again, it's an entertainment based business. I think Pacquiao knew exactly what he was signing up for. He knew the odds were against him, and it was like you mentioned, episode 1, when we talk about a traveling champion. Pacquiao is a traveling champion. He wants to win around the world. He can rest his head in any bed in any country in this entire world. He is a world champion. He gets all the props. The fight probably should have been stopped after round 7 or 8, whenever it was. But no knock on Pacquiao. Again, like, had this been a pound for pound list or something else a couple of years ago or whatnot, I probably wouldn't have him at 4. But I'm just basing it on today and maybe what the rest of the year has. I have him at 4, but don't get me wrong. Pacquiao, just like I said at the beginning, he could be number 1 on people's lists. I wouldn't argue over it.
Well, a quick question on that then. I have Pacquiao at 4 or at 2 and Crawford at 3, and you have Pacquiao at 4, Crawford at 3. Who wins in that fight between Crawford and Pacquiao?
I have Crawford winning against Pacquiao because of his age. Crawford also fights with both hands, and there's not very many that can do that. Right. And let's not forget, Pacquiao is a very small welterweight. I mean, he's an 8 division champion, only one, I believe, the only one in history. Yep. So, I mean, the guy for weigh-ins, the guy eats before the weigh-in and still makes 147. And he is a very small dude, but that also explains why his hands are so fast and why he's quick in the ring. Yeah. And even with that Thurman fight, I think Thurman he was overlooking an old little man. And that's why Thurman, don't get me wrong, Thurman would have lost anyway. A very disciplined Thurman is going to lose to Pacquiao. I'm not I wouldn't say impressed. I think Keith Thurman is a solid fighter, but I wouldn't pick him to win against many in that division.
That's fair. That's fair. It's a fight I'd like to see. I mean, Pacquiao, for always being smaller, he's got a lot of power in them fists of his. And
Yeah, man.
obviously, we both agree, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
When he calls it done in, 2075?
I don't think you need to be a boxing fan. If you recognize the name Manny Pacquiao, it's because he is in your household. He is on your television, and he is easily a first ballot. I'd like to know who doesn't vote him in. They should lose some sort of license or whatever they get to vote. They should be done.
Yeah, it'll probably be those Australian judges who would be not vote him in. But yeah, Manny Pacquiao, first ballot Hall of Famer. Can't wait to see it. And he's always a guy too that I always said if you're trying to introduce somebody that doesn't watch boxing, introduce them to a Manny Pacquiao fight. You know, the guy fights with heart, and he's fun to watch. He's always been fun to watch.
Yeah.
So that's where I got him at number 2. Who's your number 2? We talked a little long on that one. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good. My number 2 is Yordenis Ugas. Let me tell you about, this is going to be a surprise. Who is Yordenis Ugas? I get it. It's not that fancy name Americans can pronounce or Canadians or whoever. It's not that household name. Who is this guy? He's balding. Why are you having him? Here's a deal with this guy. I thought he beat Shawn Porter. The man was in tears after he lost to Shawn Porter because he got screwed in that fight. I thought he beat Shawn Porter, and that's why I have Porter at number 5 and Ugas number 2. I think Ugas could beat Terence Crawford. I think he could beat an old Manny Pacquiao. The guy does not back down. He is a big welterweight. He, not to say Omar Figueroa Jr. was a big challenge, but he just handled Omar Figueroa Jr. And I thought he handled Shawn Porter. I think you look at both of their faces at the end of that fight. Shawn Porter's face is bloodied and just beaten up. He's got a swollen eye and a cut above another. And Ugas looks like he's ready to go another 12 rounds. And they raise Shawn Porter's hand. I think Ugas is the guy in that division. I don't think he has the resume to do it, but neither does Crawford. And Pacquiao, yeah, he beat a washed-up Thurman. I don't want to get too much into those guys, but
you really don't like my Thurman pick, do you?
look out for Ugas. I don't know who his last fight was, but look out for this guy. He is I feel like he may have. I don't want to get into it. I thought he was on a Floyd undercard, but look out for Ugas. Just go, kids. Go do your Google. Go do your YouTube. Go look up Yordenis Ugas. This guy is for real. Yeah. Did you give your number 2?
I did. Pacquiao was my number 2.
Okay.
I talked to you during this week that I had my list changed about 3-4 times during it. And I had Ugas on there several different times. It was hard to keep him off, and I like him a lot. He's strong. He beat Mike Dallas Jr. was his last one. I don't know much about Mike Dallas Jr.
Neither do I.
But it was an impressive victory. He knocked him out in the 7th. I mean,
right. And let me tell you, some of these other guys on these lists, they haven't beaten anybody either. I don't think Terence Crawford, he could have beat Mike Hammer Jr. or whatever his name was. I mean, but beat him. Don't go 12 rounds with someone because Floyd says we're going 12 rounds. Just go out there, knock him out, get it over with, and because these guys are putting their lives on. I never want to say there is some boxer who doesn't deserve anything. These boxers deserve everything. Yeah. But go out there, knock them out. Yeah. We want to see some knockouts. We want to get this over with. I don't have 48 minutes to just sit around and watch two people play chess in the middle of a boxing ring. Just get it over with. Let's see this.
Ugas definitely is not a guy that's a catch-as-catch-can style boxer. He's not gonna, he's a power guy. He's gonna go in there and knock you out. He's gonna take your head off. I like him a lot. I didn't put him in my final list, and then hearing you talk makes me want to redo my list. I'll tell you that right now. I like Ugas a lot.
Again, like I say every week, if I'm wrong, you got to let me know I'm wrong. But, bring it on, because I will defend my list till it's done. But if you don't know Yordenis Ugas right now, by next year, you're going to know who this guy is.
Write it down. Ugas, Ugas. So it looks like
Pronounce it.
Ugas.
He's not Derevinchenko. Pronounce Ugas. There it is.
Fine, easy to find.
And he's friends with the Yankees guy, the old Yankees pitcher from Cuba. They're both Cuban dudes. And I think he wears like number 77 on his trunks or 43 or whatever. I should have had my facts right before taking this, but yeah, he's friends with one of them Yankee dudes.
When we go to number one, if we have a consistent number one, we name them the filthy champion.
No, we do. We both do.
You think we do? You think we have another new champion? Because the BAB title for welterweights, is it going to be the same one? I have Errol Spence Jr. Who do you have?
I have Errol Spence Jr.
We have a new champion again. Welterweights, BAB champion, Errol Spence Jr. Congratulations, buddy. We're going to put it right there.
Roll the graphic. There it is.
Roll the graphic right there.
We're going to follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. Congratulations on winning the most prestigious title that you've ever won in your entire career, the BAB welterweight champion, Errol Spence Jr. Let's talk a little bit about him. Great wins over Porter. I mean, that was a great fight, but he's got wins over Mikey Garcia, Kell Brook. He's a tenacious southpaw. He gets in a car accident that would kill most people, and he walked away from it. I mean, if you haven't seen those photos, that's ridiculous. So the fact that he would ever fight again after seeing those photos.
I saw the video. I wouldn't encourage anyone to watch any of it. It's not for me.
I would say don't watch it if he got hurt, but it's amazing like that he survived that. It is amazing. And watching that, it's like, who's gonna knock this guy out? I don't see it. He's that good. I mean, you can make a case that he's gonna have this long layoff, but it wasn't that long ago, and he's ready to fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much to add to this. You mentioned it was a one-sided Mikey Garcia fight that was just very. It was long and kind of boring. It was actually happened on yours truly's birthday a year ago, but it according to him, he had critics saying that he couldn't go 12 rounds. So he just wanted to prove to the critics that he is built to go. But it shouldn't matter what these critics say. Again, like I said earlier, just knock these guys out. If he would have knocked Mikey Garcia out, a pound for pound grade. This is not a pound for pound list. Mikey Garcia on a pound for pound list is on my list. Spoiler alert. Mikey Garcia is not ready for the welterweight division. Put him in a different division. We can talk a different story. But he should have knocked Mikey Garcia out instead of going 12 rounds with him. That's what I got for that fight. That's all I can really say about it. But Errol Spence is the truth. You don't want that smoke.
You don't. I mean, he's got 26 wins, 21 by knockout. He can knock anybody out. I think you're right. I think a lot of the knock was he can't go the distance, and he was proving that he could.
I mean, even Kell Brook was a very solid. I think that went to the 11th round when Kell Brook's orbital socket broke.
Yeah.
And Kell Brook, right now he's a super middleweight or super welterweight, which is why he's not on my list. I probably would have had him on my list. Another honorable mention.
Yeah.
But even when Kell Brook beat Shawn Porter back in the day, that was a pretty close fight too. And it's boxing. It is what it is. I can see Porter winning that fight, but a win over Kell Brook is probably the most impressive outside. Like that's probably his most impressive win. Well, Peterson and all these other guys he's beaten over the years. He's just taking the names that are willing to accept a beating. Props to him.
Well, props to him. He's our BAB champion, welterweight champion. One more props. We'll give him a little toast there, Rich. Filthy Rich. We have our second champion.
There it is. We got beers all over the place here.
All right, that's it for our Filthy Five. What do you think of our Filthy Five? Whose list was closer to what you think? Leave the comments down below. And let's move on to the 13th round. 13th round, we try to talk about something outside of boxing, but still kind of in the sports world. This week, we decided to talk a little Karate Kid, because why not? It's our show, and we can, right?
Yeah, man.
No, Filthy Rich, I know you haven't watched the new Cobra Kai series yet, and I know you're a fan of Karate Kid, so you need to watch this series. It is amazing.
If you're not you personally, but you, the viewer, if you are not a fan of the Karate Kid, let's forget about the second and third one. You should be fans of those as well.
Right.
But if you don't like that original Karate Kid, you're probably on the wrong YouTube channel right now, because this is a classic. So many lines. What do you got for me? Give me something.
Oh, well, I do have a critique of the Karate Kid. One thing that always bothered me about the Karate Kid is I felt like they got the sequels out of order. Okay, so in the first one, he's fighting bullies in the tournament. And the second one, he's fighting to the death in Japan. And in the third one, he's fighting for his title again.
I get it.
So, like, it should have been, he won the title. Second movie, defending the title. Third movie, fighting for your life, kind of life or death kind of deal. And I feel like maybe they didn't suspect they were going to have a third movie, and they just kind of like they didn't know where to go with it. I love the third movie because it's got my favorite character, Terry Silver, in it. He is awesome.
Yeah.
I love Terry Silver. He's like the most epitome awesome bad guy there is.
Yeah, I get it.
When he's sitting in his robe in his bathroom and he's got Kreese getting a massage, and he's like, anything else you want me to do? He goes, yeah, make his knuckles bleed. And then Terry Silver has to jump up. Oh, I love that. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. And he's just screaming in a robe. I mean,
let me tell.
One quick thing about Terry Silver is, he's this rich guy that has nothing better to do than to pick on a teenager that is going to donate or to spend all this time and money just to make a teenager's life a living hell.
I get it. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, you got this old dude with a ponytail who's going to tell this little teenage kid, hey, here's how you beat people up. Yeah. But like the original Karate Kid, not to get sidetracked with Terry Silver, but I mean, if you didn't have a crush on Allie with an I, what's yours? If you didn't have a crush on Elizabeth Shue, I don't know if we should be in the same room talking ever, because like I feel like that's when I got my man bones. Was when I came across Allie with an I. My goodness. And with Cruel Summer, that Cruel Summer scene in there when he's biking into a school after getting the black eye. Mm-hmm. This movie is filled with classics, and we have to keep this short. I don't want to be that guy that says, "Oh, add a comment of your favorite scene from the Karate Kid." But let me tell you,
go ahead and do that. We read all the comments.
Karate Kid is. I can't wait for like a little trilogy to come on. My favorite channel network subscription without any plugs, because I think it should be required by everyone to watch the Karate Kid trilogy at least once a year, and let your friends know what you're watching, and go ahead and make a little Karate Kid tribute video, and I will watch it and I will comment on it. Believe that.
So one little thing about Allie with an I too, that I remember watching that movie. And when he takes her out on a date, and he has his mom drive him and everything like that, it reminds me, I can relate, not to that, but I can relate as being a very young guy, getting your first crush and going on your first date. Just like Ralph Macchio plays the perfect amount of awkwardness where you could feel like, yeah, that's pretty much how it is. You don't know what to do, how to act. He's trying to get along with her friends, can't do it. And, it's a really, you can really relate to it. And I know you haven't watched Cobra Kai, and you really should, because they have just the right amount of nostalgia in it. They continue the story on. So Daniel is an adult now, and it's really, really good. Season 3 is coming out here very soon. And there's a lot of rumors about other characters that are coming back. I'm not going to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it yet and tell you what characters have already been back. But there's some big names that are possibly coming back here too. And it's, I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for that. So go watch the Karate Kid trilogy, especially the first one. Get him a body bag. Yeah. Do the left.
No, I'm not doing that again. That's going to be on a loop. I don't need that on a loop. It's too late, I guess.
That was great. Get him a body bag. And then watch the trilogy and watch Cobra Kai too. I mean, you'll really like it. I love it. And I think that's good for the 13th round. What do you think? You got anything else you want to add on that?
You know what? We can go on and on. Let's just get another show. We'll do a Karate Kid show or something. But no, everyone go watch. If you haven't seen Karate Kid, really, our friendship's on the rocks. You need to go see it. Then we can restore that. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
You're never going to win the Filthy Rich Friend of the Year if you haven't seen the Karate Kid series.
Never. Never.
All right, let's move on to the Filthy Fan Question of the Week. All right, Filthy Rich, the Filthy Fan Question of the Week comes from Rashid from Columbia Heights. He asked, do you think Floyd Mayweather will come out of retirement?
Do I think Floyd Mayweather will come out of retirement? Really, there's two ways to go with it before I really answer. Here's why he will come out of retirement, and it's because there are dollars there. The going rate to fight Floyd Mayweather is like, I think against Conor McGregor was $300 million. The Pacquiao fight, 48 minutes of work, he got $250 million. Then the fight against Conor, $300 million. There has to be a fighter out there or somehow a group of people that can fork out the money to get Floyd in the ring. Who is that going to be? I have no idea. KSI and Logan, whatever, if they can get the sponsorship to shell out 300, maybe 50 million. I don't know what Floyd's going rate is, but first and foremost, you have to fork out that money. If you don't have the money to fight Floyd, he's not getting in the ring. So that is the stipulation. Now, do I think Floyd will come out of retirement for another fight? Here, and maybe I said this already, here is why I think he will. I think he's going to get an offer that he can't refuse. Is it going to be $350 million? Probably not. Will it be $250 million? I don't even think that. But even for $100 million or $200 million, and it's a safe fight for Floyd, whoever it may be, I have no idea what kind of opponent would be lined up for him. My guess would be someone like a Conor McGregor rematch is possible. That's the only way he's coming out of retirement. Do I see it happening? I do see it happening. I see Floyd has the itch. He had an exhibition match in Japan. Now, and that's when I talk about if you get some companies or some people or something to shell out those dollars. It was a bunch of businessmen in Japan who gave Floyd all this money to fight like a Muay Thai or a kickboxer, and Floyd destroyed him. Floyd's going to protect Floyd first and foremost, and if he knows he can go in there with a win and you have, 9 figures to offer, he's going to take the fight. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does get back in that ring. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I know it's the Filthy Fan Question Week for you, Rich, but I'd like to touch on that a little bit.
Do it.
I don't think he is coming out, just personally, just because. Well, let me rephrase it. You're right that he's only going to come out for the money, okay? But that's most of it. But he's also never going to come back into a fight that he could lose. He's not. He's going to protect that. He wants to be the undefeated fighter. He's going to protect that. Whether he's fighting Conor McGregor, which was one of the most boring fights I think we've ever watched.
I was excited about that. I thought that was a good fight. I thought Conor was winning a bunch of those rounds. I thought Conor could have won that fight.
Kept doing the rabbit punching, and then the beach balls for gloves, basically.
Well, those gloves were actually smaller. Conor wanted lighter gloves, and Conor got his way. And Conor thought, "Oh my, you just messed up." Now that we got 12 10-ounce gloves, whatever it is, that Conor. So Conor went in hoping he got advantages. Conor got his advantages, but didn't have the power. He just doesn't. It's that simple, really.
He's not a boxer either.
Yeah, right. I was excited for it. I thought Conor was winning the first half of that fight. If you disagree, that's fine. I get it. But I was worried. I thought Conor was winning this fight. I couldn't have it. I could not have the UFC guy, the MMA guy, beating my sport, my boxing sport.
Well, looking back at that fight, I felt like it was almost like, and not to knock it, but it almost felt like a predetermined wrestling match where it's like, yeah, you're gonna get yours. He's gonna let him beat you for a few rounds, and then when Floyd decides it's time to win, he's going to win. Like, he
I
was never
get
in danger of that fight. He gave us all like, oh, we're gonna hope for the underdog here. Oh, maybe he's got a shot. And as soon as Floyd's like, okay, I'm done now, and he put him down. He's
I
basically,
I get it, but that's not the first time I've ever felt it was a staged event. I think it's not going to be the last time either. I think whoever Floyd, if Floyd does come out of retirement, which I think he will, because the dollars will be there for the taking. I'm not saying it's a staged fight, but he's going to win the fight. He's not putting himself in danger. He's not going to take an opponent like a Crawford or a Spence.
or a Pacquiao even. He's not even going to fight Pacquiao either.
Yeah, he better not fight Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao can. You know what? I'll be honest. Actually, you know what? Floyd could beat these guys. He's just not willing to take that risk, and I can't blame him. But Floyd could beat every one of those guys if he got in the ring with them. He's not. He has protected his body. He is still in physically great shape. He can beat these guys. He just chooses to duck, I guess is what you can call it.
Let me ask you a little follow-up to that. Do you think Floyd Mayweather coming back would be good for the sport? I mean, I could see it could have negative impacts on the sport.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Why it would I think it would be good because you have to have a solid undercard. When he fought Conor McGregor, I'm interested in that undercard. I'm interested in I don't know if it was Tabiti fighting on that undercard, but he has those the money team guys on the undercard. Watch out for these guys. This is where you're going to find the Yordenis Ugas of the world. So watch these undercards. I think Floyd fighting is always a good thing. And you know who would disagree with me? Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, I said your name. Oscar De La Hoya says it's bad to have Floyd fight a UFC guy and yada. And like I don't know if I'll ever see eye to eye with today's Oscar De La Hoya, but I will say if he thinks it's bad for the sport to have Floyd Mayweather come back, he's in his own. He's looking out for his own interests. And that's not a good thing. So he must be wrong. I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, it is always a good thing to have The Undertaker back at WrestleMania. Of course it's good to have Floyd Mayweather back in the boxing ring.
All right. Well, I hope that answered your question there, Rashid.
Rashid,
Thank you.
better answer your question. Don't ever ask me anything after that. That doesn't have your answer your question. We're done.
So again, if you have a filthy fad question of the week you want to be considered, put it in the comments. Go to the Twitter page, twitter.com/Brews&Boxing. Leave it there. We'll take one random fan question a week, and we did that one. And we also leave in the comments below. It's another way to do it. Go to the Facebook page, Raider Live. Leave the comments there for it, and hopefully we'll use your question on one of these next shows. Yeah. That's our show this week there.
Yeah. If I can chime in, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Like, call me out. Bring it on, man. Cause this is great. We don't need anything, but we enjoy this.
Right.
We enjoy the support. Thank you, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I want to give everyone a shout out. We'll work on that. Maybe we'll do the filthy fan of the day, and we'll just give a shout out to some random person. We'll work on it. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's our show for this week. Episode 3 in the can now. We got 3 episodes in the can. We're moving right along every week. We're actually talking before the show. We're going to add a little flavor to this show, too. We're going to have another second show, kind of a minor show, that's going to premiere on Sundays. And it's actually going to premiere this Sunday. We're going to have more details about that. Maybe me and Filthy Rich will come on and shoot a quick video talking about our new show and the format and stuff like that. But it's also going to be boxing related. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to have 2 shows. We're still going to have this show, the Brews&Boxing, every Thursday. So make sure you check in for that. And then we'll have a new show on Sundays. We're going to film it on Saturdays. We'll be uploaded on Sundays. So look forward to that. This Sunday will be that first episode of that one. So we're looking forward to that. As I said, we'll come on a little later this week and kind of tell you a little more about it. We'll do a little bonus Filthy Rich and Raider talking about it. And make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com, search Raider Live. Please tell your friends to subscribe. We're so close to getting our custom URL. So close. Last I checked, we're like 30 away. So close. I mean, we could do it with this episode. Please, please, please. All right. You got anything else to add, Filthy Rich?
I got a bunch to add, but I guess we'll wait till next week. You know what? I will add this. No, I won't. We'll add it next week, but yeah, we'll add it next week. Thank you guys for watching.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Stay healthy out there. Stay safe. Stay home. Please stay home. Let's get this done. Let's just watch some boxing and watch our show and tell everyone to watch our show. Let's have some fun. Filthy Rich, as always, it's a lot of fun to film with you every week. Look forward to next week.
I can't wait till next week. I always look forward to this day. I love it.
Next week, by the way, in the Filthy Five, we're going to do light heavyweights next week. So...
that's what I wanted to mention. I didn't want to say anything, but I was wondering what we were going to do next week. So it is light heavyweights.
Heavyweights next week. So
let me tell you, if you're watching this, go read up on some light heavyweights. Go watch some light heavyweight boxing from the last couple years. And call me out. Do your research. This is awesome. This is a 100+ years sport. I think only baseball is competing with us right now. Go watch some light heavyweights, man.
All right. Well, thank you all again for watching. Next week's light heavyweights. Congratulations to Errol Spence winning the BAB title for welterweights this week. Congratulations last week for Canelo for winning the middleweight BAB belt championship. And I look forward to tuning into us this Sunday. Actually, look for something, a little preview we're going to be talking about. Look for that this week. The new show's on Sunday. And we'll see you next week for Filthy Rich. I'm Raider Live. Have a good night. Stay safe.